All right, so I'm glad everybody could make it to our informational Zoom about the trip to Alaska next summer with Disciples Today, Disciples Today Travel. So I know some of you have traveled with us before, maybe with the Hoopers when Sally was the coordinator. And so I just wanted to briefly, so some of you know what it's about, but for anybody who hasn't, DT Travel was created, hi Irene, created to give disciples a chance to travel and vacation together, because we all take vacations, right? So this is a way to have fellowship. Sometimes we go to places that have biblical context. I don't think the apostles ever made it to Alaska, but the disciples will, and we'll have a great time of encouragement, a great time of fellowship there. And for this trip, Justin and Irene Renton will be our spiritual directors. So I'm going to go through the itinerary and what we have planned a little bit, and then Justin and Irene will talk about their theme and where the devotionals are going to kind of center around. So I'm going to try to share my screen. See that?
Yeah.
Okay, so we are sailing on the Holland America line, which honestly, I think Holland America and Princess Cruise Lines are the best for Alaska. They've been there the longest. Holland America opened up Alaska as a cruise ship destination. They've been going there, I think, 76, 77 years. And they just do it great. So here you can see, well, for people who are doing the cruise only, you'll fly into Anchorage and then either take a transfer, a bus or a train down to Whittier, where we'll board the ship and start sailing. And so you can see it's a southbound itinerary, and we go up all into these, and this is the inside passage, and we end up in Vancouver. So day one from Whittier, it's a very interesting town. All we'll have a chance to do really is to board the ship. But it's almost like a walled city, but the walls are mountains. And then on day two, we will do nothing but cruise. So it's not your typical day at sea, because this is the kind of thing we'll be seeing. These glaciers. We'll go by the Hubbard Glacier, one of the largest, I believe. And so we'll be a day at sea. We can enjoy time up on the deck. If you have binoculars, bring them, because you'll be able to see whales. You'll look for otter, orcas, seals, I think, with seals and sea lions, all kinds of cool ocean wildlife while we're cruising. And then Glacier Bay. And honestly, I tell any of my clients who call and want to go to Alaska, like, don't even consider a ship that can't get into Glacier Bay. It's a national park, and the waters are so pristine, and it's such a delicate and protected environment that in order to get it, be on a cruise ship that gets in there, the cruise ship has to burn very clean. So it's got to have clean fuel, and it's got to be below a certain size. So the ginormous ships, with 5,000 passengers can't get in there. And Holland America, I think all of their ships go into Glacier Bay, and it's just, you see glacier after glacier after glacier. We get in there in the morning. They board national park rangers who just stay on the ship all day. They're up in kind of the crow's nest area in the forward most upper part of the ship. They do a presentation. In the morning, they're up there to answer questions all day. They will make an announcement over the loudspeaker, if people are outside and looking, if they spot a glacier that is calving, so like a cow gives birth to a calf, that's what it's called when a piece of the ice, the front of a glacier, falls into the water. It's calving. So if they see a whale, if they see a glacier calving, if they, anything of interest, they're going to make an announcement on board. But that's something really unique to board the park ranger to answer all your questions. So very cool. Skagway, Alaska is just a really neat town. Height of the Klondike Gold Rush, it was founded. This is the town that is still, all the sidewalks are still made of wood. It looks like an old West frontier town. Like the buildings are, cement and brick and other things, but the sidewalks are very small. And I think there are only about 800 year-round residents. And then they get a ton of obviously cruise ship passengers, but also people who come in just to work the season, which is about end of April, mid to end of April to middle of September. So for those 5 months, they get a whole influx of just tourism workers. They man the shops, they're the tour guides, all that kind of stuff. So it's a really interesting town. All the towns that we're going to see are. Juneau is the capital, the most beautiful and strangest state capital in the US. And the only way to get to Juneau, I don't know if any of you know this. Actually, there are 2 ways to get to Juneau. Does anybody know? If you can, I don't know if I can see everybody's hands, but if you raise your hand. All right.
We know.
This could come up if you ever get on Jeopardy, so.
Oh,
I'm
a big Jeopardy fan. So what's the answer?
The only way into Juneau is by sea or by air. You cannot drive to Juneau from the interior, but well, from anywhere else. So you have to arrive like we will be, or you have to fly. So it's surrounded by mountains. And then Ketchikan, you can see the picture. It's this beautiful, like quaint fishing village. There's a large indigenous kind of tourism there, which I was surprised to not see more of that in the other 2 towns. But here there's a place to go where they have brought in several totem poles, because that's kind of a lost art. And you can only be told the story of the totem, of a specific totem, by the artist who carved it or someone the artist has told, and then they can pass it down. So it's a very, very interesting culture. And then there's another part of the town we won't talk about because it had a really big red light district. So that was legal in the day during the gold rush times. Then we have another day cruising the Inside Passage, which again, just beautiful scenery, chance to, look for whales and other ocean wildlife. And then on the last day, we will arrive in Vancouver, BC, which is a gorgeous city. Super friendly people, right? Those Canadians, Andrew.
Yes, thank you very much.
And yeah, beautiful city. I was impressed by how green it is. Like you can see all the high rises up here, but so many of them have gardens on the roofs or the terraces of the building, like trees, not just like house plants and window boxes.
That's it.
Yeah, beautiful city.
That's it.
So there's, an opportunity to stay and explore in Vancouver after the cruise if you'd like, which I recommend if you can spend at least a day or 2. And then this is the optional pre-cruise extension. So rather than flying into Anchorage, what you'll do is fly to Fairbanks, which is considerably further north. I recommend getting there a day ahead of time. So flying in July 1st, and then on the 2nd, we will catch a train to Denali National Park. It's the actual peak, Denali, the mountain, Mount Denali, I guess, is the highest peak in North America at about 20,000 feet. Sorry, I don't have my exact stats here. And we'll have the opportunity for a dinner show. We'll get to do a tundra wilderness tour there, and that's where we can see the Alaska Big Five, which I don't know if I can remember, but it's bear, moose, elk, Dall sheep, D-A-L, D-A-L-L, and I'm missing one. It might be two kinds of bears. Sorry, I'll get that before we go. So that's where you can see that wilderness. We'll stay in Denali for 3 nights. And then the next day we'll take the train down to Anchorage. It's a beautiful train ride, again, through the interior of Alaska. We'll arrive in Anchorage and spend 1 night there. And then the next day, take the train to Whittier, where we'll board the ship. So the details for this, we're still holding hotel space and doing all that. I expect it to be, well, we're going to ballpark it around $2,500, and I'm hoping that it'll come a lot closer to 2,000. Let me see. I don't know if anybody has any questions about the itinerary.
Yeah, actually, the first one you mentioned when we get to Alaska. Where's the first stop you do? I didn't
On
get
the
that.
ship?
Yeah,
On the ship or the pre-cruise?
before the
tour.
ship. When you get on the ship, you stop.
When you-
You basically go
So
ahead.
the first 2 days, let me pull that back up.
Yeah,
No.
please.
Oops, sorry, you're getting all kinds of, this drives my husband crazy. Oh, stop. I have so many tabs open. Okay. This
There you
is our itinerary.
Yeah.
So the first 2 days we are sailing past all of these glaciers. And then, so the first day we'll sail past Hubbard Glacier and then we'll go into Glacier Bay. So you can't, it's hard to see, but it cuts up into there. So where the line goes,
So you say the first 2 days.
that's the first 2 days. The first day we're just sailing past the Hubbard Glacier. The second day we don't get off the ship. We're sailing into Glacier Bay. Actually, you do have an option to get off the ship. There are some like kayaking tours and stuff in Glacier Bay, but we don't pull into a port so that everybody can go for the first 2 days.
Okay, got you. Okay,
Got it?
got it. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
After we,
Tessa-
one more question here. So we get to Ketchikan, Alaska.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So is there something else after that? Stop after that? Or is that just right to Vancouver?
From Ketchikan, then we have 1 day at sea sailing the Inside Passage and then into Vancouver.
Oh, okay. Scenic. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, I'm going to revise once we have the definite price for the pre-cruise tour. Then I will put that up as an option that it's the cruise tour. So you'll have the cruise and the land portion, the Denali portion.
So we could register for the cruise part now and just wait until you get the other. Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
So what question? So what do we go to link to get information on the cruise, like paying prices, cabins, all that stuff? What's the link there?
Yeah, so it's on my website and I can put the link in the chat, but it's this, can you see this, my website, DT Travel Alaska Cruise? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we can see that.
Tess Davis Travel, if you want, you can go to groups and events and then DT Travel Alaska Cruise brings you here. So we have lovely Renton family. And then the cruise information and register the category of, oh, I didn't delete that one. So the category of stateroom you want for the cruise. So if, say you want an ocean view, number of guests, and then you'll put that all out there. It gives you the price here per person and the total.
Okay.
Okay, and then I'm gonna stop.
So are we gonna get any discounts, perks like we did on the last cruise when we went on Disciples today, 2024?
Yes, so the price includes Wi-Fi, specialty dining, $100 shore excursion, beverages, prepaid crew appreciation, and transfers from the airport and the ship. So beforehand and after.
Okay,
Okay.
so you have a credit, you said, on the cruise?
Say that again?
Credit, do we have a credit on?
There's a $100 shore excursion credit.
Okay, so it's $100, okay. All right.
Hi, I'm sorry, I never got the link in the chat.
Let me put. So.
Oh, thank you. All right. Thank you, Tessa. Thank you so much. This was a
Sure.
great meeting.
Oh, good. And I wanted to give Justin and Irene a chance to talk about because part of what makes this cruise different from anything else you're going to go to in Alaska is having spiritual directors on the days that we're just at sea. We're going to take a break and gather together and hear a series of devotionals and enjoy some time of fellowship. So go ahead, Justin, Irene.
We very excited about this trip, and for us, Alaska is the furthest part on the planet that we can actually get to from South Africa. It is literally 12 time zones from us, and I think it's about 80 degrees of whatever it is, latitude or longitude to get up there. So it's a long way, but we're excited about it. And yeah, we're very excited about the theme, which is really lessons from the wilderness. In other words, you know, Alaska is the wilderness, and a big theme in the Bible is times that we all spend in the wilderness. And every one of us, no matter who we are, will go through times in the wilderness. And Irene and I actually have written 2 books of kind of lessons that we've learned from the wilderness, entitled Healing of a Wounded Idealist. And how, you know, so many of us start with sort of idealistic faith and excitement about how everything's going to go in our lives, and we have to learn how to deal with some of the disappointments in a spiritual way. And so I don't know if you want to add anything about the book, and then we'll talk about the devotionals.
No, the second book is called The Humble Idealist, which is just very practical in terms of how to take idealism, add humility, and prayerfully find a path that actually leads you to God and not to disillusionment. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we'd probably have a 3-part. I think looking at the amount of days, sea days that we have, sort of a 3-part workshop that we've done. We've done this workshop in a number of places around the world, in New Zealand, in Zimbabwe, in Singapore, where else? I think in Australia, in South Africa. And it's a really good workshop. It starts off with Elijah and just, you know, the lessons that he learns at his time in the wilderness, and what God was trying to teach him, and really learning the distinction between idealism and true faith. And very often, you know, they seem the same, but there's some very important differences between them, and you kind of learn the difference between that. And then we have a sort of a core fears workshop, which is actually super helpful to know, you know, in our time in the wilderness, you know, what are some of the core fears inside of us that get triggered, and how do we overcome them, and how that plays out in relationships, in work environments, in the church environment, in a number of different areas. So, and then we finish with sort of, you know, the growing and coming out of the wilderness stronger than ever before. So
Yeah, I think for me, the thing I love about DT travel and tours is that you get to have these devotionals, which makes it different to, you know, another cruise. But I think the thing that's so great is the conversations you get to have about this. So we were just on a cruise with Carl Spears, and wow, the conversations you get to have and the things you get to talk about, which maybe you don't get to talk in your hometown, you get to talk about with people you don't know. And it's amazing the connection you have with disciples, the vulnerability you're able to achieve, and the way the Holy Spirit really works. So for me, that is, I think the conversations afterwards, over lunch, over dinner, is the most special thing about it. So yeah, we're looking forward to it. I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and one of the things that, you know, DT Travel does, we all sit together at the meal times, you know, so you get to have meals. Obviously, if you want to have a romantic dinner, you can break away on your own, but generally we get to be together, you know, and you get to know disciples from all over the world. So it really is, and I know a number of you guys have done some DT Travel trips before, but it's, for those who haven't, it's a very special experience.
Very special. Awesome.
Amen. Thank you. Yeah, looking forward to it. Can't wait. That's all I have. And I know there were a couple people who indicated they have questions. So who wants to go first with a question?
Hey Tess, I have a quick question
Okay.
about the pre-cruise part. So
Yeah.
I know you mentioned like the wilderness tour, and I was just wondering how well you have to be fit for it, or like what it might entail. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? That's a good question. I don't think I mean, it's not like you're hiking up Everest. Probably most of it will be in a vehicle with a chance. Actually, that tour will be in a vehicle. And then from Denali, from where we would stay in the park, there'll be opportunities for hikes, things like that. But I'll find out for sure, Irene, and get back to you. But I don't think that's a physically demanding for the Tundra Wilderness Tour.
Thank you.
Writing a note to myself.
Yeah.
Right. Any other questions?
So, Tess, there's quite a bit, it sounds like there's already some things already set up, but there's still shore excursions of various kinds, that, are they going to be with that shore excursion group that you, kind of the side group, or should we suggest just looking at the ones on the cruise?
Either way.
Okay,
Yeah, either way.
okay,
Holland will have a variety, and you will have a shore excursion credit. So you'll want to, you can only apply that by booking through the ship.
sure.
And then, but some of them will sell out those excursions. So
Uh-huh.
in that case, you know, that my shore excursions group, and then even I have a Viator link to send out too. I can curate a few that I would recommend.
Yeah, yeah. And I'll just put a plug in for insurance, because I needed to use that at the last cruise and I got all my money back. So that was worth the insurance.
And I didn't even pay her to say that.
No, this is a spontaneous plug for the insurance. So
Yeah. And honestly, when there are a couple people on here that we traveled to Greece and Turkey with last February. And my mom was traveling with a friend of hers who missed a step in Munich at the airport trying to make their connection, and spent 2.5 weeks, broke her foot in 3 places, and spent 2.5 weeks in a Munich hospital. And she just had the minimum policy. She didn't insure the whole cost of the trip in case she had to cancel, but she had no medical bills. Her brother flew over from the States, stayed with her for a night, and then flew back with her. They were both upgraded because of her injury. She needed more leg room. So they were both upgraded to first class, and insurance covered all of that. So
Wow.
I recommend at least the minimum policy So you would have all of the unexpected things covered. So
Yeah.
And that is on your website? The,
the insurance,
yes.
when you register and make a booking, I will send a quote to insure, and I usually send a quote to insure the whole value of the trip and a quote for just the minimum policy so that you have all of your medical, dental, trip interruption, trip cancellation. And even if you have really great health insurance here in the States, which Alaska is a United state, it's not going to cover you in Canada. It's not going to, cover lost luggage or trip interruption. Even like medical transportation, like medevac stuff starts at 65K, I think. If you have to get, God forbid, anybody that benefit, but
Yeah.
so,
Oh, so, okay, I just want to know, the first step is to register on your website.
correct. Yes.
Okay,
And when
thank you so
register-
much.
Sure. When you register, I get all that information, I make the booking, and then you will authorize a payment on your credit card. And what I do first is just take the deposit, which is enough to secure the booking. Which for some reason I don't have on here, but I think it's $500 per cabin. I think.
Yeah.
I'll get that up there.
Okay.
500 per cabin, which, so 250 per person if you're double occupancy. Which, and I will say, if you're trying to do 3 or 4 people in a room, that's totally based on availability, and the pricing fluctuates with that. So if you have 2 or 3 or 4 people in a room, that if you're trying to take a family or 3 singles together or something, just call me and let me know, and I can quote that out.
Oh, okay, so, your phone number?
It is on the website, but I will put it on here too. 813. There we go. 813-501-7335.
I have a question. I tried to register, but it's asking me to put my information, but I don't have an account. How do I create an account? It's just asking me for my sign in, but it's not letting me create an account. I have to
On
have
the-
already one on the website.
Oh, so it does say save in and log in and save time registering, but you don't have to do that. You should be able just to fill out your information on the form.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. Hope to see you there.
Hi,
I
good
hope so too.
evening.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other
Hello.
questions?
Hi, good evening. I have
Hello,
one
can I-
question. Oh.
Can I be heard? Oh.
Sure, Bob.
Okay, I'm Bob. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Great. Hi, nice to meet you. Thank you, Tess. My wife and I are in Ohio, and this
Okay.
sounds wonderful. Really want to do this. This would be a first time for us. It sounds incredible. So my wife's done. It's kind of a fire hose right now, and I was a few minutes late, so I apologize. But I think I got most of the stuff. Great presentation. So I had a couple quick things. All those slides are great. Can those be found at your website? All the slides you presented.
No, but if you want, I can email it to you.
Okay. I could so I would email to tess.davis@cruiseplanners.com.
Yeah,
Okay,
if you
great.
email me, I'll send it back to you.
Great. And a couple real quickies. I was going to ask about the booking too. I think she previously asked that, but it's not Disciples Today. You go to your website, Tess, for
Yeah.
this DT cruise. Is that right?
Yes. And actually, I think, Justin, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think on disciplestoday.org, there's a link that will
Link
redirect to,
over.
yeah. So either way.
Yeah, the Disciples
then the
Today.
price-
Yeah, the Disciples Today links to Tess's booking. So we provide sort of information about the cruise, but all the booking happens through Tess.
Great thing. And then the prices, that's all what you're including the pre-cruise, which sounds great to me. That's like an add-on piece. Is that right, Tess?
So the prices
ju-
there are just the cruise only, and then it'll be about, like I said, I'm going to estimate high because I'd rather do that.
Yeah, sure.
And come lower, but I think it's going to be about 2,500 a person for each for the pre-cruise tour.
I do have a question. The pre-cruise, does that include meals or no meals included in the pre-cruise?
Couple. So I think breakfast every day is included and the dinner theater. That's it. So you'd be on your own for meals or at the resort.
Okay, but the hotel is included, the 4 nights of hotel is included in that,
Yep.
right?
3 nights.
And the transportation is included
Yes.
from Anchorage to
Whittier.
Whittier. Okay.
So the 3 nights and the transportation are part of that 2,500 a person?
Right. Yeah,
Yes.
there's 4 nights, yeah.
Or-
Yeah. 3 nights in Denali, 1 night in.
Oh.
Anchorage.
Okay, great.
And did you say there's transport also from Fairbanks to where we're starting that? Is that also part of that add-on, or is the transport like we start in Fairbanks and we meet somewhere in Fairbanks at the hotel or something?
Yes, so that part is yet to be determined.
Okay,
I will
Okay.
have details.
okay, thanks.
Uh-huh. Bob,
Well,
did you
here's
have-
Just a
big-
quick-
Yeah, if I can, one more biggie as I get this fire hose information. The big obvious honking one is, what's the deadline? Like, do you have a deadline here of getting in on this?
Yeah, so final payment will be, hold on, let's see. At the end of March. And there's a chance that any of so I have space for over 100 people right now.
Oh.
At some point, if I don't have those filled, Holland America is going to say, we need those back. And they're going to start taking my rooms. So I would say as soon as possible, but in order to get these prices, it has to be done before middle of March.
Okay, great.
But-
And then your down
Thanks.
payment is, 500, 250 each, or the first payment?
Yes.
Okay, great, wonderful. And we'll probably have more, but I can email to you.
That's
Thank you, Tess.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Did I hear somebody else trying to say
I was
something?
trying to say something earlier on. Good evening. Good evening. Afternoon. I joined a little bit late. So I wanted to know if it's possible to email these slides or if I could just probably get a little more information in terms of, I know on the side has the itinerary. I am coming from Trinidad. I don't know if that'll be a little different. So I'm just trying to figure out in my mind the total cost, but I'm interested along with 1 or 2 other persons.
Okay, great. Maxine, if you email me, do you see my email address in the chat?
Yes, I see it. Yes. Cruise
Yeah.
Planner, yes, that's the, yes.
Exactly. Then I'll send you the slides.
Okay,
And you just need to have a credit card that can do transactions in US dollars.
yeah, I have that. Okay.
Great. Perfect.
All right. Thank you very much. I'll email you now. Thank you.
Thanks. All right. Well, I know it's a busy season. I don't want to keep anybody any longer than they have to. So unless somebody else has another question, I will go ahead and wrap this up. Is that good?
Tess, can I get your phone number again, please?
Yes,
Andrew. 813,
501
yeah,
7335.
813-501-7335.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right.